coverage of this Ryan Garcia PED scandal in the wake of his fight with Devin Haney is eye opening. And why I say it's eye opening, what I'm learning is that a lot of the people that cover boxing, these YouTube content creators, have absolutely no clue about what's going on in boxing, and it shows. And their takes when something like this happens. I won't say the content creator's name because I wish them no ill will. But I just was watching a particular content creator, and he's blaming the commission and saying that if he's saying the same thing Ryan said basically, if the commission knew he was hot before the fight, why would they allow the fight to go on? And only a novice could take that point or hear something like that and run with it. Here's why: the letter which stated that Ryan was dirty came from VADA. ESPN confirmed, right? So VADA, we know, is not just regular drug testing. Like most fighters, have regular urine tests. I work for the commission, so I know how it goes. They submit a urine sample. It's sealed by one person that works for the commission, signed off on, and sent to LabCorp. LabCorp then gets back to the commission with the results. The reason why they get back to the results afterwards, because if they take a test prior to the fight long enough to get the results back, what's stopping the fighter from going and then using a performance enhancing drug after passing the test successfully between the time of the last test and the fight time? If anybody knows VADA testing, it's random and it's more than one test, it's multiple tests. So what happens is, unfortunately, Ryan has had drug test screenings prior to the fight. He passed them all. He was able to pass them all. The last two tests were the day before the fight and the day of the fight. He did not pass those. Let's also remember back when the fight was first made, Devin Haney was complaining that Ryan was dragging his feet about enrolling in VADA. So, like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. But what the YouTubers need to understand, it's not the commission's fault. No, they did not know that he was hot prior to the fight. He took tests prior to the fight, one before and one after. Okay, they came up hot, but those were two of many testing. Because again, when you enroll in VADA, they can show up randomly during your training camp and test you, and I'm sure they have. So to think that they just waited to the day before the fight and the day of the fight to test this man is ludicrous. It shows me you guys don't really understand what goes on in boxing. And no knock to you, why would you if you never participated? I'm just doing this for educational purposes. The reason why is because those were the final two tests. If they had took a final test 2 weeks prior, got the results back, and he was clean, what was stopping him from using performance enhancing drugs those last 2 weeks? Nothing if they're not going to take a final test. So either way, there would have to be tests that at least the day before and the day after the fight. And of course, because the commission is not a VADA lab and they don't hire professionals to be able to do that, they actually outsource that. They're going to have to send the samples out and wait for the samples to come back. And even if it was in-house, it would not be same-day results. We're not talking about basic urine tests when we're talking about VADA testing. We're talking about Olympic-style drug testing that includes urine and blood. So, in some cases, they can actually take your hair. So, there was extensive testing. This is the highest level of testing that you can have for a professional combat sport or any professional sport. So, the commission and the powers that be did their job. Unfortunately, you have fighters that try to find their ways around the system or through the cracks to be able to still cheat while not testing positive. Unfortunately for Ryan, he fell short in not testing negative. He ended up coming up positive. But again, it doesn't make sense what Ryan Garcia is putting out there and some of y'all are running with, saying, well, if the commission knew beforehand, the fight shouldn't have happened, or if they didn't know, they should have known. Neither of those make sense. Think about getting a job. A lot of people start jobs and you're hired pending the result of the drug test. You may work a week or two and then all of a sudden you're fired because your drug test results come back. Why? Because that sample has to be sent to a lab, tested and retested. It's not going to happen on site. Every employer is not going to be a lab that does drug testing, especially Olympic style drug testing. So I hope that cleared up things for y'all a little bit. Um, the commission didn't know prior to. There's no indication that they knew prior to that the result was positive. And if you just use logic, there's no way they would know because there is a private entity that does the testing. If they took the sample on Friday and Saturday, there's no way they would have the results instantly. Those results would have to go back to a lab, be tested, verified, and then the report would come out. And so it doesn't make sense. So there you have it. All the other content creators, I don't want you to go out there and make yourself look foolish by putting out a false narrative. The reality is, it's almost impossible to not to know prior to, if somebody's passed all the tests in camp, and then you just have those final two tests the day before and the day after, and they come up hot. Well, you're not going to find out till a couple weeks later. That's just the way things work. I'm happy they did find out, and to say some fighters would do it anyway just because they hate the other fighter, they must hate themselves too, because you stand to be banned or have your career taken away from you and lose a substantial amount of money if you come up hot. So that is a big gamble. But like I said, that's all I have to say for y'all right now. Until next time, keep your hands up, your chin down, your ass off the floor. Peace.